Good morning. This is MJ from Linus Publications. I got a great comment earlier about mundane astrology and horary astrology. And I realized I never did a session on horary. And this is literally, let's call it a question astrology, where I simply ask a question and then I draw up a chart for that specific date, time, and location. And I can read that chart in a specific fashion. It's not the same as reading a natal chart or a progression or a solar arc. And what it will do is it will give you information about your question. Now, the thing is, you need to set up your question sort of pretty specifically. So you wouldn't want to ask a question like, will I get married? It's too open-ended. On the other hand, will I get married by 2027 is a good question. Will I win the lottery is not a good question. Will I win the lottery by 2030 is a better question. So the more you bracketed it down, the better the answer will be. Also, you want to try and look for a positive answer. You don't want to say, will I never get married? Because you want to make it so you're looking for a yes type of answer because it's easier to read the chart that way. So let's continue because what I did was I asked this morning and I took the time and date of the time I asked the question of will Elon Musk successfully fly a spacecraft to Mars by 2030? That's pretty specific. I have the person, I have the type of vehicle, I have the location, and I have a date. So I drew up a time chart for that using the time and the date and the location that I formed that question, that I finished forming it in my mind. And when you read these charts, again, it's going to look similar to a natal, but it's not. You want to look for two or three things. First, you want to look for where the moon is. In this case, I have the moon right up here. That's really important because the moon should be placed in a house that relates to the question that you're asking. If it's not in the house of the question related to the question you're asking, then maybe the chart is asking and answering another question. But in this case, the moon is in the house of, in effect, philosophy, but also travel. And specifically, this is long distance travel. So I don't think it could get any better than having the moon placed there, saying yes, we're answering the question. Now, the next thing when you go to interpret these charts, you look at the degree that the moon is in. And let's say it's at 3 degrees of a sign. Then you have to go from 3 degrees up to the end of that sign and see every single other planet that it makes an angle to and the type of angle, because that will tell you the sequence of events in your question. It'll also give you an idea whether the result is positive or negative. Because typically the last angle before the moon goes void is a case where it's not going to make any more angles before it changes to the next sign. Now that last angle it makes typically gives you the result of your question. You also look at, in effect, who you're talking about, which is the first house. Now, in this case, we didn't even have to go to the first house. I'll explain why in a minute. But you would also follow everything related to the first house. You'd find out where the ruler of that house is and the angles that ruler is making. And you can get a decent answer to your question. So in this case, I have moon sitting at 28 degrees, 20 minutes. It is not that far away from crossing over into the next sign. And the only type of angle it's making is to Saturn before it crosses over. And the type of angle it's making is such a minor angle I wouldn't even consider it. What happens when you have moon literally going void of course in this type of chart? It means that, in effect, nothing's going to come of this matter. Nothing. That answers the question. Is Musk going to be able to fly a spacecraft to Mars by 2030? No. Doesn't mean there's something matter with Musk. Maybe spacecraft, maybe by 2030. Could be any one of those. But again, I bracketed in really well, so I know under those conditions, Musk is not going to make it. And it's because of the position of the moon. It's ready to move into the next sign. So that means that matter is closed and it's all done with. Now, if I wanted to follow just a little bit more, but in this case, you don't need to because you've got the answer. I could look and see, the moon rules the 12th house. 12th house, hospitalization, drugs, things under the covers. So there's stuff going on that we probably don't know about. But again, doesn't need to come into this interpretation. We have our answer. Now, again, you can have one of these done, and all you need is for the astrologer to get the date, the time, location, and a good question, and the astrologer can read the chart. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it added to some of your knowledge about astrology. Have a great day. Bye now.